Hey, what's going on? It's Brother Paris here. See if you can see me a little bit better. Let me fix this just a little bit so you can get a little better view of me. Really don't need to see me. God just gave me a word to share based on my reading this morning. Sometimes he gives me a word to share in many different venues. Sometimes he wants me to kind of make a video and kind of break it down in a more preaching type of format. So here we go on that. The reading is going to be out of Judges 18:14, and we're going to call I guess if you want to call this a sermon, the title of today's sermon is God Calling Pastors Out of the Church. All right, and that's what I'm speaking on. I really believe, that right now, God is calling ministers and pastors who really have a heart of God to step away from Western Christianity and get out into the world and maybe start their own home ministries or outreach ministries. But it's really calling them to get out of church and really out of religion in Western Christianity, because Western Christianity has been so diluted, and a lot of folks don't want to admit it. In one way they'll say that we're in the apostasy stage, which we are, but then they'll kind of find certain excuses and reasons why. Well, some churches are still good, and I just don't see that. I don't see the word of God lining up with that idea that there's some good churches. I mean, I believe there's some churches and some ministers that try their hardest to do things God's way within the system, but as long as you're in that system, you're playing a game. And it's tough for some people to hear, and I think it's tough for the people who really do have a heart of God, because they're like, well, I'm not doing this, or maybe the minister that they're under or whatever, we're trying to do things the right way. But it's not an issue of people or the ministers. It's a systematic issue. The Bible's clear that actually it's going to be the church who are going to persecute. We're going to be one of the powers that persecute the true believers in these end times. We kind of have to get outside of our own biases and even our own positions. And again, even I know there are folks who are trying to do the right way, and I definitely honor and respect them for that. But you can't, if you're in the system, as hard as you try, you're gonna fall short of what you could do if you were to get out the system for God. So that's kind of the basis of what I'm speaking on. So I'm gonna read from verse 14. It says that the 5 men had got out to scout the land of Laish, told their brothers, "Did you know that there is an ephod, household gods, and a carved image and silver idol in these houses? Now think about what you should do." All right. So they detoured there and went to the house of the young Levite. Levite is a priest, the young priest at the home of Micah, and greeted him. So Micah had a priest living with him. Now, I don't know why, I don't know exactly how it all set up and all that go, but he had a priest living with him. But within this house, they had idols within. This is supposed to be the house of God. The priest is in the house, but within that house, there's idols. And what God's speaking to me is a twofold breakdown of that, is that Jesus is now our high priest, and he lives with us. But even those who have Jesus live with us, a lot of times we have idols within ourselves, our household, which is within ourselves, in terms of things that we idolize. And then within the church of God, kind of back to the original topic of pastors and leaving organized religion, within these organized religious institutions, they're filled with idols. Catholicism obviously being one, which is completely idol-based, but within the Protestant churches, the white Jesus, the altar, some of these Protestant churches got ATMs after. The minister got the crazy chains. And even the positions of leadership within the church become idols to people. This is what God is saying on this. So it says the 600 Danite men were standing by the entrance of the city gate, armed with their weapons of war. Then the 5 men who had gone out to scout out the land went in and took the carved image, the ephod, the household idols, and the silver idol, while the priest was standing by the entrance of the city gate with the 600 men armed with weapons of God. These 600 men, weapons of war. These 600 men represent those true believers. There's some of us that are willing to go into these churches and stir stuff up and pull people out. And I believe that is truly what God's calling someone to do, to get people out of these institutions that are filled with idol worship. And indeed, that's what I believe these 600 warriors represent. So it says, when they entered Micah's house and they took the carved image, the ephod, the household idols, and the silver idol, the priest said to him, "What are you doing?" Now, a lot of times when you speak out against the church and the system and all this, people try to make you seem like you just, he's just out of control, or he's got a bad spirit, or he's got a bad attitude, and all these other type of things. But look at the response that these warriors gave when the priest got mad about them taking out the idols. They told him, "Be quiet and keep your mouth shut." They checked him. It wasn't, "Oh, God bless you," or none of that. They said, "Yo, shut up. Don't say nothing." You know what I'm saying? This is what time is. We come and take these idols out the house of God. You're supposed to be the priest of God. Yes, we're calling you out. And, hey, if it hurts, say ouch. You know what I'm saying? So it says, they said, "Come with us and be a father to a priest for us. It is better for you to be a priest for the house of one person, or for you to be a priest for a tribe and family Israel." So the priest was pleased and took his ephod, household idols, and carved image and went with the people. They prepared to leave, putting independence, livestock, and possessions in front of them. All right. This says in verse 22, it says, after they were some distance from Micah's house, the men who were in the houses near it mustered and caught up with the Danites. They called the Danites, returned to face them, and said to Micah, "What's the matter with you that you mustered the men?" Mustard means, now if you go into mustard, it means tried out. And it says when Micah tried out to his neighbors and pursued the Danites asked him why he do that. So Micah was mad because, they just took the priest out the house, the minister. So the people were mad. And basically it says that, Micah had made his own gods and appointed all his priests, concluded, "Now I know that the Lord will be good for me." See, a lot of us, we done made, these ministers, all these people be the priests, and we came with all the idols, and then we want to have all these idols and think that God's going to be good to us. It just don't really make sense. It just don't really make sense. All right, I'm going to stop this and get to the second part.